It's one of those brutal nights history forgot. The kind of night that doesn't just freeze metal, it freezes memory. The kind that bites through wool, stiffens fingers, and makes a person whisper a prayer for dawn. It's December 1944. Deep in the Ardennes forest, thousands of soldiers, American, German, British, face a cold so sharp it could split a person's will. Snow buries trenches, helmets frost over, rifles jam solid, canteens turn to blocks of ice, and in that silence, the true enemy isn't a uniform across the line, it's the air itself. In that frozen world, survival wasn't about bravery. It was about ingenuity, and a warmth secret born from the most ancient technology on Earth, the human body. During the Second World War, survival wasn't guaranteed by superior weapons or strategy. It was often determined by a soldier's ability to adapt, to improvise when nature stripped everything else away. In the mountains of Italy, in the steppes of Russia, and the forests of northern France, soldiers learned that warmth wasn't a luxury. It was a weapon. When supply lines froze and gear failed, they couldn't wait for blankets from headquarters. They had to invent warmth from whatever they had. Canvas, rations, even their own breath. Out of that desperation came a discovery so simple, so effective, that modern survival experts still use it today. It wasn't taught in manuals. It wasn't printed on army posters. It was passed from one soldier to another, whispered in foxholes, tested in blizzards, and remembered by those who lived to tell the tale. It was called body heat sharing, or as British troops humorously nicknamed it, the two-man trench bivvy. Imagine two soldiers in a frozen ditch. Their boots are soaked. Their breath turns to crystals in the air. The temperature drops below -20 degrees Celsius. They have no sleeping bags, only a single torn poncho and their own bodies. So they do what nature has always done. They huddle. They press shoulder to shoulder, chest to back, wrapping the poncho around them both. No words, no comfort, just survival. Within minutes, something incredible happens. The air between them warms. Their shivering slows. Frost stops forming on their faces. They've created a microclimate, a tiny pocket of heat that can mean the difference between frostbite and life. This wasn't just luck. It was physiology at work. Here's the science behind the miracle. Every human body constantly releases heat, roughly the same amount as a 100-watt light bulb. When alone in freezing air, that heat escapes fast through convection and radiation. That's why one person in a sleeping bag might still freeze, even with thick fabric. The warmth just bleeds into the night. But two bodies close together change the equation. The layer of air between them becomes trapped, warmed, and recycled. A living insulation system powered by metabolism. Each body acts as both a heater and a shield. Their combined metabolic heat raises the shared temperature by 10 to 15 degrees Celsius, enough to push them safely above the danger threshold. It's the same principle seen in nature. Penguins in Antarctica, reindeer in the Arctic, even wolf packs in the snow. Every creature that faces cold learns the same law. Together, we survive. Alone, we freeze. The history books rarely mention it, but soldiers from every front discovered and practiced this method. In Stalingrad, Red Army troops trapped in bombed buildings shared warmth in groups of 3 or 4, their breath fogging the frozen air as they whispered songs to stay awake. In the Italian Alps, mountain infantry used snow trenches, dug narrow, lined with pine branches, and slept in pairs, their rifles beside them, bodies pressed tight beneath a tarp. American medics at the Battle of the Bulge Recorded cases of men surviving nights at -30 degrees Celsius simply by huddling together under a single blanket. One medic wrote, "Those who slept alone were dead by morning. Those who doubled up lived." Even Japanese troops in the Pacific, where nights could turn bone cold after tropical rains, practiced a similar ritual, back to back, wrapped in ponchos, preserving what little warmth the body could make. It wasn't comfort, it was instinct, and instinct, in those nights, was science. The two-man trench bivvy had a system, one that soldiers refined through bitter experience. Step 1. Create insulation beneath you. No matter how much warmth you share, the ground will steal it. They used branches, spare clothes, even rifles wrapped in rags to lift themselves off frozen mud. Step 2. Dry layers. Wet wool kills faster than any bullet, so they stripped off damp outer gear, kept only dry shirts close to the skin. Step 3. Position. Side by side or chest to back, minimizing air gaps. Sometimes they even overlapped legs to keep blood flowing. Step 4. Seal it in. A poncho, tarp, or blanket over both of them created a pocket of trapped air. And Step 5. Rotate every few hours to restore circulation and share body exposure evenly. It was a technique of pure necessity, born from trial, refined by suffering, and remembered because it worked. Decades later, scientists and survival instructors studied this same method and confirmed what the soldiers had known instinctively. A joint study from military cold weather labs in the 1960s found that two people in close contact under one covering maintained core temperatures nearly twice as long as a single person in similar conditions. Today, mountain rescue teams call it human insulation or shared warmth therapy. When rescuers find someone hypothermic, cold, pale, barely conscious, they'll often get into the same sleeping bag as the victim to transfer body heat directly. It's one of the most effective emergency responses known, and it's the exact same idea those World War II soldiers used 80 years ago. But beyond science, there's something deeply human about it. The cold has a way of erasing pride, rank, nationality, even ideology. They all fade when you're fighting the elements. There are stories from the Eastern Front of opposing soldiers sharing abandoned shelters, too exhausted and frozen to fight, using each other's body heat until morning, then quietly parting ways. Because the body doesn't recognize enemy, it recognizes warmth. In those moments, war stripped down to something raw and universal. Survival through cooperation. The lesson remains timeless. Technology can fail. Batteries die, fabrics tear, heating systems go silent. But the human body still carries the same heat it always has. So whether you're camping in the mountains, trapped in a winter storm, or studying history from afar, remember this rule of survival. Stay dry. Stay insulated. And when in doubt, share warmth. What worked in 1944 still works today. Because survival isn't just about tools, it's about knowledge, adaptation, and connection. The soldiers who mastered this trick weren't just fighting a war. They were proving a truth about human resilience, that when stripped of comfort and technology, we are still capable of incredible adaptation. That the body itself is the original survival machine. And that sometimes warmth doesn't come from fire, but from another heartbeat beside you. So the next time you face the cold, or read about those who did, remember this quiet miracle from the past, a lesson whispered in the frozen trenches of war, carried through time to every hiker, explorer, and dreamer who dares the cold today. This is Forgotten Survival, reminding you that sometimes the simplest ideas are the ones that keep us alive. Don't forget to subscribe for more Forgotten Sciences survival wisdom, and stories of human ingenuity that deserve to be remembered.